Welcome in again, everybody, to a special edition of the Auburn Undercover podcast. And today we've got our future United States Senator, Paul Finebaum. Paul, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Ronnie, and thank you for that very warm introduction.
Well, I'm sure you'll make a decision sometime this week, so we're all on pins and needles.
So if I don't run, what do you think about Hugh Freeze? Auburn coach, there's got to be something there, doesn't it?
Hey, I mean, Bruce Pearl backed out. If you back out, then I guess we'll have to go with you. He needs a job.
Good point.
I know we need to. Don't have much time, but so let's just jump right in. What are your thoughts on? So by my calculations, I think there are 13 jobs. I think 12 jobs open now. I expect 30 plus by the end of the cycle. I know a lot of schools held off last year due to the NIL, profit sharing, other reasons. It's going to be a huge year. How does Auburn stack up? The four biggest jobs right now: Auburn, LSU, Florida, Penn State. I'm not sure Arkansas deserves to be in there, but what are your thoughts?
Ronnie, I think that's how people will look at this, but to me, Auburn is unique. Auburn doesn't need to be necessarily going for the same people that Penn State is or Florida is or LSU. You've covered that program a long time, and to me, Auburn it's a fit job and it's a relatability job, meaning you don't have to be a perfect fit, but you have to understand where you are. That was Brian Harson's problem. I don't know what Hugh Freeze's problem was, other than it seemed like he was not the same coach that he once was. But if you can get down there and understand where you are and what's expected, I think you can be successful. You don't have to be Lane Kiffin. You don't have to be the top coach on the carousel. So I think it can be a great job. We've seen people be successful there that you wouldn't normally think. I mean, think about every coach since Jordan has been fired. So I'm trying to think of, other than Tuberville, I guess Terry Bowden got another job somewhere. But has anybody ever gotten a better job leaving Auburn?
No. Because Auburn's a top 10, maybe top 12 job. I mean, you're not leaving. I mean, if you're at Auburn, you're not leaving Florida. I mean, you're not leaving for Florida. If you're at Florida, you're not leaving for LSU typically. I guess Lincoln Riley and and Brian Kelly kind of broke that mold, and Jimbo, but none of those really worked out well. One thing that kind of jumps out to me this cycle is that Auburn has a reputation for being not aligned and it being a mess. If you look around the conference, Auburn may be more aligned now than at any time since Pat Dye was the coach. And if you look at LSU, you've got the governor running a coaching search. You have no president. You have no AD. At Florida, you've got no president. You got an AD who's probably going to get fired by the next president. Auburn, in a lot of ways, is more attractive because there is stability.
Completely agree, Ronnie. Somebody called our show Monday and said, a lot of these boosters are always getting in the way. And I'm like, do you have any idea what you're talking about? There's a perception about the boosters at Auburn. It's not true. I will go back because I covered Auburn in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. And all the criticism of Bobby Louder is preposterous. Bobby Louder actually knew much more about running a business than any of the athletic directors under him. Did he interfere? No. Did he know what was going on at every moment? Yes, he sure did, which is how you run a business. And I think Auburn had a lot of success as a result. And, people talk about Raymond Harbert and Jimmy Rain as if they're bad people. They're not. There happen to be the two richest people in the state of Alabama who can do more for that program than anybody else. And they do. We're no longer in an era that you have to keep the boosters out. You can't win without the boosters. You need their money. Yeah, it's nice when a Harvard or a Rain gives a couple $100 million or 40 or 50 million to the business school, but it's even better when they give however much they give to the athletic department and to the football NIL program, which they do. So I think for fans to just disingenuously say, oh, these boosters are in the way. You've got an athletic director who said he's a one-man committee. Now, if anybody believes that, I've got some stock in Hugh Freeze's future I'd like to sell you. But ultimately, Auburn is in a good spot. It's in a better spot than the other two, or really the other three SEC schools, I think. And I think that's a big advantage.
That was my next question. How attractive is it? I mean, if I'm sitting here, first of all, I don't think Auburn and Penn State are fishing from the same pond. A coach that's interested in going to Auburn probably isn't real interested in going to Penn State, and vice versa. But if you're sitting here and you're looking at Penn State, LSU, what are the expectations? I mean, if I'm a coach and I'm trying to make a decision on where to go, and I've got all these jobs on a plate. I mean, LSU just fired a coach who won 29 games over the previous 3 years, and Penn State just fired a coach who won 34 over the previous 3 years. And I get their issues with the AD and all that stuff. But I mean, what are the expectations at LSU? You just fired a guy and paid him $50 million who's averaged almost 10 wins a season.
Well, Verge Asbury, the interim AD, got up and said, our goal is to get to the CFP every year. You seen anybody do that lately? It was foolish. Auburn, Ronnie, I was watching that game Saturday night like you were. And the idea that anybody was at that game, let alone 88,000 people, mostly staying until it was no longer in doubt, which is as soon as Kentucky scored 10 points, you knew the game was no longer in doubt. But I was impressed. I mean, that is Auburn football. And I know Auburn people, can easily think, I'm out to get them. Nobody's out to get Auburn. I'm impressed by Auburn. They have I would argue, the best fans in the country. I mean, they were there watching a terrible football team, watching a terrible coach against the second worst team in the SEC. That's remarkable. Can you imagine what they would be like if you're in contention for a playoff berth? Well, I know what it's like because I've been to those games as you have, and the atmosphere in 2010 and the atmosphere in 2013 and a couple of other years surpasses any atmosphere in the country.
Well, and 19 straight sellouts with a football team that hasn't had a winning season, and you're looking at 5 straight seasons. I mean, that's and we've talked about this before off the air, and Philip Marshall's reported it. I've said it for years. I mean, Auburn is in this place because Stephen Leith, Alan Green, and on and on. And this has been going on for, years now. And so Auburn is still digging out of a hole. And honestly, it looks like to me that LSU and Florida are kind of headed down. I mean, Florida's kind of where Auburn was 3 years ago. No president and AD that's on his way out.
Ronnie, politics aside, Florida appointed a president from the University of Michigan. He didn't get the job. He got overruled because of some of his policies. Now, he was already approved by one group of board. There's a board of trustees and a board of governors. The board of governors overruled the board of trustees. And you're talking about dysfunction at Auburn because you got a couple of boosters who are rich. Auburn is much better aligned than either one of those schools. And that's why I think they're in a unique position. And I don't have to keep repeating it, but you don't have to get Lane Kiffin down there. You don't have to get Eli Drinkwitz. You need a coach who understands football. And I thought the line I heard yesterday, which described the failing of Hugh Freeze and who the next coach will be more than anything else, was when John Cohen said, I want to coach with an edge. Now, I can't say on a family website what he really means. But you and I have been on football fields before, and you've heard the word, and that's what Auburn needs. They need a mean, steely-eyed coach who who can do what Hugh Freeze didn't do. I have no idea why Hugh Freeze lost whatever he once had. Maybe it's the illness. Maybe it very likely could be. I think we've talked about that in the past on this show. But it doesn't matter now. He's gone. No more. We don't need another autopsy on Hugh Freeze. His record speaks for itself. But what Auburn needs is a coach who will grab this program by his hand and make it successful and will it to be successful. And that's, for all of Cohn's statements yesterday, which you could disagree with. I mean, the fact that he said, I am the committee is not smart, but it doesn't matter as long as he gets the right coach. And I feel pretty confident they, meaning Auburn, will get the right coach.
You talk about somebody with an edge, and I've been saying that for, I don't know, a couple of years now. Auburn has not looked like it had an edge. And when Auburn's been good, you look back to Dye. And everybody, and maybe those edges were different, depending on the coach. But when Dye was there, you had a staff full of guys who had an edge. When Terry was there, Terry's style was completely different than Dye's, but he was still arrogant and cocky. And the players believed in him. And you had Wayne Hall on staff, and you had Rick Trickett on staff. You had Jimbo Fisher on staff. And when Tuberville was there, there was some arrogance, there was some cockiness. And, when Chiswick was there, I mean, you had some guys on staff. You had Cam Newton at quarterback. I mean, there was nobody on Hugh Freeze's staff that compared to a Rick Trickett. Of course, I'm not sure that
you could go throughout the world under the battlefields of anywhere you choose and wouldn't find anybody as mean as Rick Trickett.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of a kind. He's great, but he's one of a kind. But I mean, you're right. There's been no edge. From a candidate standpoint, John Summerall seems to be a name that comes up a lot. DJ Durkin obviously is going to have a chance to show. I mean, he's got what, 3 games left and maybe a bowl game. What are your thoughts there?
I thought Durkin did a good job when Cohn finally let him speak, and ultimately, if he can beat Vanderbilt, he sets up the opportunity to get the job. I don't think he can get it without Vanderbilt, though, because he needs some momentum going into the Alabama game. Auburn can beat Alabama. Listen, Ronnie, we've seen that before. And because Hugh Freeze did not have an edge is why his career ended this week, because had he had an edge and had he been aggressive, Alabama would not have scored on the 4th down play 2 years ago, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. Mm-hmm. But because Hugh Freeze is too, but again, I'm going against my grain and talking about Hugh Freeze. I think Summerall is legitimate. I think Durkin is legitimate. After that, I think you're grasping for straws because you don't really know which way the carousel is going to go. But I think Auburn would be smart to find someone that they know is attainable and spend all of their energy going through the channels and not just literally going from door to door. And I think that's probably that's the problem with a guy like Drinkwitz, who could end up anywhere because of his success. But you got the agents, and I don't need to tell you about that. So Summerall to me is probably the most attainable. Dillingham, he coached at Auburn 1 year. Does that matter? Apparently it does to some people. He's a good coach. There are other coaches that are good. I mean, Silverfield in Memphis is impressive. He was about fired 2 years ago, but he's done a great job of resurrecting his name. Key. I mean, all these guys, by the way, are better than Hugh Freeze.
Well, yeah. I mean, considering what we've witnessed the last 3 years, and then they're probably all better than Hugh Freeze and Brian Harsin combined. Summerall is an interesting prospect. Grew up in Grissom, grew up in Huntsville, went to Grissom. Has an affinity for Auburn, apparently. I don't think Auburn is going to go out and spend, give a guy a 10-year, $100 million contract.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. And frankly, I think you're right. I mean, look, as many openings as there are going to be, and there's a dearth of candidates. There are going to be guys that get jobs that probably shouldn't be getting jobs. And there are also going to be jobs that there are also going to be schools that end up getting screwed. I mean, if you got Florida and LSU waiting on Lane Kiffin to get finished with the playoff, good luck. Because you don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, see, I don't think Auburn can afford that. I think Auburn needs a coach in place very quickly. And I'm talking first week in December, and they need to be off and running. They can't waste any time. And I think they know that.
How do you see the let's talk about, I know you only got a couple of minutes, but let's run through the coaching carousel right now. How does Auburn stack up against these other jobs?
Well, I think Florida, and I think Kiffin has to decide what he wants to do. I don't know what he wants, but I'm always guessing that Kiffin has a wandering eye, Ronnie. And to me, Florida looks better than LSU right now, and it's because of the governor. The governor just opened up that scab down there, and it's not going away. And the AD didn't help, the acting AD. At least Florida has a president, I think, and an AD.
The interim president
down to his last swing. But so I think Kiffin, I think Florida, LSU, you have Kiffin, Drinkwitz. Arkansas doesn't really matter. I think Auburn is in good shape for that next pool of candidates, and I think that next pool of candidates is very good.
Well, Paul, appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning.
Ronnie, it's always a pleasure. I'll see you soon.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Please click like and subscribe below to those who are listening, and we'll see you next time.